Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. My name is Muhammad Ahmad bin Alias. So today, me, myself, and also my friends, Muhammad Izan bin Muhammad and Muhammad Fitri bin Kamaruzaman, will present to you all about a case study, infant industry protectionisms, a case study on automobile industry in Malaysia. So here we go. So we begin with introduction first. So, what is infant industry protectionism? Basically, it is an economic policy approach that aims to nurture and safeguard emerging domestic industries against the competitive pressures of established global players. So here, the objective that we want to study this case study is we want to analyze the rationale of protectionist policy for its automobile industry, and we want to understand the benefits and drawbacks, and also we want to evaluate the effectiveness of test protectionists. So here, the content of this presentation is, as a general, we will examine the historical context of Malaysia's protectionist policy for the automobile industry.
So I will be talking about literature reviews. There are some literatures focusing on infant industries and protectionism. Firstly is the infant industries. The infant industry argument supports that protecting domestic industries against international trade. This um, literature have been can be seen dating back to the 19th century. Economists having generally favored protecting infant industry, like John Stuart Mill, emphasizing the presence of external dynamic learning effects as a prerequisite for such industries. And for protectionism, arguments regarding the impact of trade protection on developing country firms can be categorized into two groups: competitive challenges and market size. Trade and foreign direct investment (FDI) can diminish profitability, hindering investments in capital and technology. Protectionist measures can raise that profitability, allowing for more investment and improve efficiency. Um, Trade protection can manipulate market size, leading to expansion of domestic firms. Larger market size allows for a investment in production technologies and optimization of cost curves. External increasing returns to scale and productivity improvements can also be achieved by larger firms. Besides immediate efficiency gains, trade protection can lead to dynamic gains in efficiency and productivity through learning by doing. Um, Learning by doing means that firms engage in a process by eliminating inefficiencies through their experience, through their practical experience in that production processes or production cycle, supplemented by industry level external economies of scale. These gains are particularly evident in knowledge intensive industries.
Alright, move on to the next one is on the background of automobile industry in Malaysia. The automobile industry in Malaysia has experienced significant growth and development over the years. It has played a crucial role in the country's economic development, which contributes to the increase in opportunity for employment, technological transfer, and also foreign direct investment. In the 1960s, the government implemented the National Automotive Policy to reduce the import dependency and establish a self-sufficient automotive ecosystem within the automobile industry. The introduction of this policy encouraged the establishment of the local automobile industry through partnership with international automakers. The first manufacturer was established in 1983 and is called Proton Holdings Berhad. Proton will stand as the country's national car manufacturer through their first car of Proton Saga, shows the reliability of Malaysia automobile industry. In making the cars in the local market, Proton formed a collaboration with international companies like Mitsubishi and also Volkswagen to enhance its technical expertise and broaden its product range. On another hand, Proton also can be seen as one of the major automobile makers in Malaysia, which they specialize in making small and compact vehicles in the market. The first automaker, which was Proton, was shielded by significant subsidies to foster the economies of scale within the automobile industry at that time. It can be seen that there is a drop in excise duty to 50% on Proton cars such as Saga. The government of Malaysia also employed quotas to limit the volume of import within a certain time period. The intention was clear: to encourage customers to buy Saga automobiles, which are made in the area. It is to make sure that the local industry grows by focusing on sales of Proton cars in the early years. The next one is on the graph. The graph above shows the trend of vehicle sales in Malaysia, which consists of two main local brands, which are Proton and Prodwa. In the early 1980s, the sales of Proton can be seen increasing over the time, but eventually it decreased during the early 2000s. The joint venture project of Proton and Mitsubishi Motors creates a strong growth in the automobile industry in Malaysia. This was driven by the popularity of the initial Proton models like Proton Saga and also Proton Wira. However, the trend of vehicle sales dropped during the late 1990s and early 2000s due to the increase in competition from the imported vehicles. On the other hand, Prodwa, which was established in 1993, started to focus on producing small and compact cars with cheaper prices to cater the needs of Malaysian market during that time. They focus on producing reliable, affordable, and importantly, fuel-efficient vehicles to the consumer. From the graph above, it can be seen that the vehicle sales of Prodwa has consistent growth from the early years of production until today. This is due to the increase in demand for a small car segment such as Prodwa Kanchan, Mavi, and Asia, which can be observed popular among the consumers.
And now I will be going through the tools for protectionism. Malaysia prioritized the development of its automobile industries through import substitution as part of its industrialization efforts. Protective tariffs were introduced, many of it were introduced, and several assembly plants were also approved, attracting international partnership with companies like Fiat, Mitsubishi, Volvo, and Honda. The low domestic content of locally assembled cars led to a localization policy and a mandatory deletion program. This is to promote the more usage of local components for making cars. The Motor Vehicle Assembly Committee (VAC) was established to manage the automotive industry, regulating prices, imports, imports, local components, and the number of assemblers, brands, and models. Proton received significant tariff protection, subsidies, tax concession, and preferential treatment over other car makers in the domestic market. And lastly, the government established Heavy Industries Corporation of Malaysia (HICOM) to strengthen the manufacturing sector of cars, with Proton as a symbol of national car industrialization in joint venture with Mitsubishi. So that is all from me.
There are a few benefits that have been gained from these case studies. One of them is in terms of job creations. As an evidence, employment in Malaysia in 2006 until 2007 has increased from 9,525 to 11,500. This includes positions in manufacturing, assembly, engineering, design, research and development, sales, marketing, and various support services in automobile sector. And the second one is in terms of economic growth. This is because it's stimulating economic growth in Malaysia. Proton operations have contributed to the growth of ancillary industries and supply chains such as parts, manufacturing, component suppliers, logistics, and also the services provider. And last but not least, for the benefit is it can enhancements of industrial capacity. The subsidies and reduced excise duties on Proton vehicle have enabled the company to scale up the productions and invest in advanced manufacturing technologies. All right, there are three drawbacks that we can see here. The first one is missed opportunities. Here, it can arise as a consequence of governments directing resources and support exclusively towards protected industries, thereby potentially neglecting sectors with high growth potentials or competitive advantages. The second one is it can occur a trade retaliations. This is because protectionism policy can have unintended consequences, including trade retaliations from other countries, which can result in trade conflicts and diminish global economic cooperation. And the final one is it can lead to inefficiencies. By insulating industries from global competitions, there is a risk of complacency and a lack of motivations to improve productivity, control costs, and also produce high quality products.
In conclusion, this case study summarized the impact of protecting the infant industries in the automobile sector within the Malaysia context. The initiative by the government through the National Automotive Policy (NEP), which was launched in 2020, can shed the light to the automobile industry by focusing on the next generation vehicles, Industry Revolution 4.0, and also mobility as a service. It can support and grow the domestic automobile industry in Malaysia for a long-term duration. Local businesses like Proton and also Produa have prospered as a result of the government attempt to safeguard local manufacturers through policies like import bans, tax incentive, and also funding for research and development. However, protectionism has faced criticism in which this brings some concern to the public and to the government. The issue of heavy reliance to the protectionism policy from the government can affect the industry for a long term. This is due to the reason there will be more entrants from foreign competitors in the industry. Eventually, the local industries such as Proton and also Product need to adapt with these changes to sustain. Therefore, more initiative by the government to help these local industries can be seen in the new technological product which is on electric vehicles EVs to align with environmental trends. Proactive measures and planning need to be done in order to foster a sustainable growth and also competitiveness in the domestic industries. To sum up, it is beneficial for a country to adopt protectionism to ensure that domestic industries can prosper in the market along with economic development. Thank you.